guys, good morning. This is Jason Flame, host of the Master Motivation Podcast. Excited for another episode today, hoping to bring you motivation, inspiration, and education. Guys, sorry we missed you yesterday for our Keep the Flame Alive with Jackie. We'll be back next week, so keep an eye on the schedule, but we have a brand new topic. But today, we're going to talk all about law, leadership, and life lessons with Lisa Spiwak-Felipe. And she's a powerhouse attorney and entrepreneur who has practiced law for nearly 4 decades. A graduate of the Claremont Colleges and Southwestern University School of Law, she founded Spiwak and Iezza in 1992, now recognized as California's leading firm in commercial collection litigation. Beyond the courtroom, Lisa served as small claims judge pro tem in Los Angeles and brings both sharp intellect and grounded compassion to her work. When she's not advocating for clients, you'll find her on her ranch with her husband, 3 kids, and a lively assortment of animals. A true explorer at heart, Lisa's love for travel has taken her on adventures around the world, and I can't wait to hear all about it. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, like many of my guests towards the end of this year, we scheduled this, quite a while ago, and then we had to put the podcast on a hiatus, as most of the viewers know that are watching. My wife needed some taking care of last year, but here we are back, and everybody on the schedule, and everybody is doing really well. Our history goes back, as we were talking about the kids earlier. Our kids went to Pinecrest together back in the day. Pinecrest is no longer in Moorpark, but very fond memories of the Pinecrest family and everybody that we met there. And you were one of those people. So again, I'm just happy to have you on the show today.
I feel exactly the same, and I really cherish those days we had together. It was years ago now, but that Pinecrest was really special.
It was, and we look back on it and still, I mean, some of our best friends and best memories came out of the things we did at Pinecrest and the people we met and we continue to spend time with afterwards. So I'm looking forward to telling your story or allowing you to tell your story and learn a little bit more about you. Anybody watching live, please, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and throw those up there. If you're watching live, please like, share, and comment all day long. Go over to YouTube and subscribe to Master Motivation Podcast for more upcoming guests. So, I just want to jump in. What is going on in life right now? How are things going? What's the update?
So I am thriving, as all the members of my family are, and I just feel I feel so lucky. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work. It's not all luck, but luck does play a part in it. And
Sure does.
I just, I feel like one of those people that kind of got really lucky in life and got it all. I had this amazing career. I've raised 3 children that are all doing really exciting things in life. And after all these years, I'm still head over heels in love with my husband. So it's just all really good. It's great.
I love hearing that. It is so unbelievable to hear someone so excited to talk about their spouse because, we see the other side of it. And, I see a lot of people that got married around the same time and are not married, and life is very different for them. But I can see the smile on your face and knowing that I have that same relationship with my wife, where it is just so great after all of these years. It actually gets better as time goes on. And that's how I feel.
It does. It's like you just realize that that's your person. And you're just so grateful to have that person. And, I know your relationship with Jackie is the same as mine with Mark. It's just like we just get each other. We totally understand, and we're completely in each other's corner. And it's really, it's better than anything in life.
Yeah, going through life with your person, as you said, It just makes everything, every experience, every moment, every day so much more enjoyable. As a matter of fact, Jackie and I just got done. We go to Rotary every Thursday morning, Rotary of Moore Park morning, and we meet at 7:30. At 8:30, we're done. We go to breakfast, and we just get to have some time to hang out. And we were just saying how nice it is to have just that time to spend together, and how we're so fortunate to have the life that we've lived where we get to just spend time together. You know, we don't have to be in the hustle and bustle of every single day. Like, we get to really settle down and enjoy that time together. And nothing is better than that time. I look forward to coming home every single day, no matter what I've done, and just we got our movie time, we got our TV time, we got our talking time, we got our just catching up. So yeah, 100% agree and love it. So let's talk a little bit about your career, your professional journey, and your expertise. You've been practicing law for 38 years. I don't know how, because you look so young for, being in business for 38 years. But what first inspired you to go into commercial collection litigation, such a unique and specialized field? Tell us
Yeah,
about it.
it is really a niche field. So my journey really took as with most people, sometimes you end up exactly where you're supposed to be, but you didn't know it. Like, you got there, but it wasn't really planned. So in my situation, my number one goal, the only thing I cared about, was becoming financially independent so that I no longer had to rely on my family. So I went straight from high school to college to law school, no breaks. Maybe that's why you think I look young. I don't know. So when I got my law degree and passed the bar, all I cared about was making money. And in my mind, being a 25-year-old lawyer was, that I was going to make enough money so that I never had to ask for help ever again. I didn't want to ask for help. So I took a job. I was offered a job in a firm that specializes in commercial collection litigation. And, Jason, it didn't matter. I mean, I didn't care whether it was family law, probate, bankruptcy. This is what offered me. This was the pay that I needed. So I took it. I knew nothing about the field. So that was the beginning motivation. But when I started practicing this area of law, my mind was just blown because I couldn't think of a more perfect field for my personality and for my gifts or talents, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just funny. Like, I'm not a religious person, I'm not a spiritual person, but definitely the universe was looking down on me when it guided me there.
Mm-hmm.
So what is so interesting about this field is that it is definitely not for everybody. In fact, I would think that there are very few people that would enjoy this and be good at it. It's not for the faint of heart. It is a very, very difficult field. It is as adversarial as you could get. I mean, I come into the office every morning at 8 o'clock, and until I leave in the evening, I am fighting. I'm fighting with debtors. I'm fighting with opposing attorneys. I'm fighting with judges. I'm fighting with everyone. And if you're not a thick-skinned, tough person, you will crumble in this environment. It will crush you. But I'm like a hired gun. I'm like, I mean, that's what I am, and what I really love about it is I feel like I wear a white cape. And I know that sounds strange. Like, why would you, being a hired gun, feel like you wear a white cape? So let me explain to you how important what I do is to my clients. And I think to to the world. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you own a martial arts studio, and you are home, and in the middle of the night somebody breaks into your studio and goes into your back office and steals cash out of your safe. Okay, you go in the morning, oh my god, I've been burgled. So what do? So the first thing you do is you call the police, and they come right over. They're going to help you. They're going to take fingerprints, whatever. They're going to find the bad guys for you. They're not asking you to do anything. Then the prosecutor is going to come, and they're going to do whatever they can to put the burglar in jail. And all of this is for your benefit. All of these people in society are helping you. You don't have to do anything. They're in your corner. Now, let's say a different scenario happens to you. Let's say that you sign up a new family to your martial arts studio, and they have 3 kids, and they take classes with you, and then decide not to pay you. And you're owed, same thing. They took $5,000 out of your safe. Now they owe you $5,000 for services that you performed that they're not paying you. So you are equally harmed. You are out the same amount of money. Who's going to help you, Jason? Who can you call? Nobody. Nobody cares. The fact that you've had all this money taken from you, and you call them, they don't answer the phone. When you go knock on their door, they say, sorry, we have other bills, we just can't pay you. You are just left high and dry. So I come in, and I am going to get you back the money that you worked so hard to earn. And without me, you're out of luck. Nobody cares. So I feel like what I do is really important. And when you work so hard, when you sell your services, or when you sell goods, or whatever you do, and then somebody just decides not to pay you because it's just uncomfortable or inconvenient, or their money needs to go someplace else, you have no resources available to you in our society. So that's why this career really spoke to me, because I realized how much my services were needed and how much good I could do.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, and I love that you speak about it with such passion, right? It's obviously something that you love to do, and something that you feel very passionate about. Something that you said in the beginning, though, I think is what struck me first, was that the reason that you wanted to get into this field, or maybe not the reason, but one of your driving forces was that you didn't want to depend on family financially. If you don't mind sharing, what does that stem from? Because that struck me. I grew up, my dad was in construction, was a custom home builder, right? So like, times were either really good or really not so good. And I remember thinking to myself, I wanted to make sure that I was more financially stable as a husband and a father when I was able to be. And so that was a really driving factor for me when I started my business. Is I was so focused on making, quote, enough money so that we were financially stable or financially free, to not have to borrow or have someone else take care of me. Again, if you don't mind answering that question, where did that stem from, of having that desire to be financially free?
Okay, so unlike your situation, I grew up in a family that had an absurd amount of money. I grew up in incredible wealth. So I can see your brow furrowing. Why would I, need to be independent from that. Because that money came at a cost that I wasn't comfortable paying. So I don't want to turn this into, woe is me, I had a horrible childhood, but I had a very difficult childhood. But I had a difficult childhood for very different reasons than you might have or somebody else. I didn't go hungry. I didn't go without anything. I went to the finest schools. I had excess of everything. I had opportunities. I had everything that you would think would make somebody, you know, lead the perfect life. But it wasn't. It wasn't. And it was a situation that I needed to break free from. There's a, did you ever read Hans Christian Andersen when you were, well, whatever.
When I was a child, I was not a good reader. I read a lot
Okay,
more now, but
okay.
I did not read a
So
lot of books when I was younger.
Hans Christian Andersen wrote a wonderful story called The Emperor's New Clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the story went was that there was a omnipotent emperor. He was this, you know, he ruled everything and everybody. And he was approached by tailors who said, I can make you the most beautiful suit in the world, but you have to be a certain kind of person to see it, you know. And so they pretended to make this suit and they put it on the emperor. And of course, there was nothing there, but they bamboozled the emperor and everybody else to believe that if you were of a certain person, you would be able to see it. And so nobody wanted to admit that they couldn't see anything. So the emperor strutted down the street and he wasn't wearing anything. And everybody said, oh, emperor, your clothes are so beautiful. Look at that suit. And there was one child who stood there and said, the emperor's not wearing any clothes. And everybody was like, oh, you can't, you know, you can't say that. And the child said, but he's not wearing any clothes. He was a truthsayer, and he was punished. And I was a truthsayer. I was that little kid who told the emperor he wasn't wearing any clothes. And yeah, the emperor didn't like that.
Well,
So
thank you for sharing that. I know that that wasn't part of the question that I
that,
gave you, but it just struck me as something that I thought was worth mentioning. But then on the flip side of that, again, you know, this is how you were raised, and now you're highly successful yourself, I'm sure, and financially free as you always wanted to be.
yeah.
How did that change how you parented your own children, about providing them with everything and all the things they need? Did you change that? How did that work in raising your kids?
So first of all, as successful as I am, I mean, I wasn't at the level that I grew up in. That was a whole other level. But I don't think that any of the people that I grew up with in that circle necessarily benefited from all that money. So I wasn't worried about matching that kind of money. But my parenting style with my children is, I mean, 180, it's 180 degrees from what I got. My children were so loved and so non-judged and so appreciated that they didn't have all the problems that I had from not getting that. So they were my kids are very self-confident, and where their ambition, because all three of my kids are extremely ambitious, And where I think their ambition stemmed from is not to get away from something like mine was, but perhaps to run toward something in a positive fashion. I worked very hard with all three of my kids to explore their personal passion and to nourish that. And it's funny because the three careers that my children have chosen are very different to each other. But if you looked at my kids when they were 5 years old, you could see this kernel in them, and I just watered it. And so what's really exciting is that that they are all as passionate about their professions as I am about mine. And that's the key to happiness and to success. One thing my father did tell me that I did listen to was he said, choose something in life that you love. Because if you choose something that you love, you will be good at. And if you're good at it, you will be successful. It's very linear. And that I did really hear and listen to, and so I believe in that. So it's really about passion.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, because I chose a career path that many people would probably not choose, which is being self-employed and owning a business and being a martial arts business at that. I love martial arts so much, and my parents reminded me the same thing. Find something you love. And you know the old saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And I feel that's so true. I do work hard, but I love it. Like, I enjoy it. I never feel like I have to go to work. I get to go, and I get to train, and I get to work out and be with people. And I've tried to pass that on to my children as well, because if you do that, well, let's say if you do the opposite, right? You choose, or you choose to follow a path because you have to, instead of choosing a path that you want to. You end up in a position where then you have to go to work, and that can be rough.
100%. And I see that about you. I've seen your passion, and it's really wonderful to see. In fact, it's funny because I see people that have family businesses that are multi-generational. Like, most people look at those as how lucky they are and what opportunity. I don't see it that way, because while the original person in the family who started the business, that was his or her passion, it's probably not the kid's passion. It's just an easy route, or maybe it's what they think is expected. So yeah, but I love watching, how excited you are by what you do. You always have been. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. Well, hey, I'm going to throw this comment up here because it's been here for a while, and I'm not sure if she's still watching, but Jackie just wanted to say hi and drop a quick comment. So I don't know if you're still watching, babe, but thanks for commenting. And
oh, Jackie, hi. It's wonderful, wonderful to connect with you.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break just to recognize one of our sponsors. So give me just a second here, and we're going to introduce Raptor Extreme Karate. All right, we are back, and I am Jason Flame, host of the Master Motivation Podcast, talking with Lisa Spiwak-Felipe. We've had a heck of a conversation already in the last 20 minutes, and we haven't even hit all of the questions. We got stuck on the first one and went down a rabbit hole talking about her background and family and all the good stuff. So if you missed it, go back, check it out, watch it from the beginning. But I want to get back to talking a little bit more about your professional journey and running your own firm since 1992 is a huge accomplishment. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned in building and leading your own practice?
I was so surprised when I started my own firm, because I always thought that the hardest part about running a business and running a law firm was getting clients. I thought that would, how do you get clients, and how do you keep them? Um, and that's what I thought was going to be my biggest challenge. And funny enough, that's been the easiest part of this whole journey. My phone rings off the hook constantly. I turn more business away than I take. I can't handle it all. What I have found really challenging is employees. That's been the hardest part for me, and I think part of that is I think it's generational, because I'm a baby boomer, and I was always taught if the boss gets into the office at 9, you get in at 8:30. And if he or she leaves at 6, you leave at 6:30. And, it's constantly, what can I do for you, sir? How can I help? How can I add to the business? It was all, you just sacrificed everything for your career. But I find that younger generations don't subscribe to that. They're more work-life balance, which I understand. It's just difficult, because I always think they should be doing more. They're not doing enough. So I'm constantly disappointed. But that's my problem. That shouldn't be their problem, because they're not doing anything wrong. So I struggle with employees, and then of course, it's the same thing, I'm sure, with your studio as with the law firm. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you're selling. I'm selling legal services. You're selling martial arts services. We could both be selling men's underwear. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is that you're selling something. And so, the for me, it's keeping people motivated. And then if they're too good, they tend to leave and start their own. And if they're,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a daily struggle with the
Sure.
internals.
I hear it all the time. And as the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce here in Moore Park, I talk with a lot of business owners, and that's something that a lot of business owners struggle with is employees. And you talk about the difference in the generations. Um, what do you think it is that has contributed to that change? Because you're right. I think a lot of people now are focused on work-life balance, if there ever is such a thing. I don't know if there, I think of it as a juggling act and not necessarily balance. But I think that, and in my opinion, I think that more focus on your family life and your home life and putting that at the forefront versus the job, because the job is the job, but your family is everything. And so I have always subscribed to putting my family first. Um, Even incorporating my family in the business so that we can spend more time together. But what is it that you think that contributes to that just kind of difference in mentality of get there before the boss gets there, first one to get there, last one to leave? What has contributed to that?
Well, clearly, um, my generation wasn't happy, because it wouldn't have changed if they were happy. So, and I think possibly the offspring of my generation said, we want to do things differently, because change comes when there's a void that you need to fill. So clearly, I think the change, it was societal, that the next generation said, this isn't working so well for us. We want to do things differently.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking about, you're selling law services, I'm selling martial arts services, right? But really at the heart of selling anything, I think is a word that you used, service. When you replace that word selling to service, I think it changes the mentality. And it's one thing that I really focus on with my leadership team, with my instructors, people that are coming up. I'm fortunate that I can build up my instructors and my employees from within, from literally the ground up. I'm planting seeds at 5, 6 year old. One day you could become a martial arts instructor, and they do at 14, 15, they start as an assistant instructor. But what I try to remind them is, you never really have to sell anything. You just have to go above and beyond with serving the clients, serving the family, serving, the people in your community. And that's how you go into a business with the right mindset, at least in my opinion.
Jason, I think that concept goes so much further than just business. I get asked so often, like, because my kids are so successful, and they're like, what did you do? Why are your kids, like, what's your secret sauce with your kids? And I didn't do anything. I just tried to be the best role model that I could be. And they just watched me, like, I didn't sit there and bang over their heads, you must do this, you must, my two sons opened the door for people because they watched my husband open the door for people. My kids are constantly saying, what more can we do? Because they watched us say, what more can we do? So in terms of business, I care so deeply about my clients. Sometimes I think I care more than they do. Like, sometimes I have to, say, hey guys, this is really important. Focus. Like, this is what I want to do. Give me authority. I'm doing this. And they'll say, you don't have to go. You don't have to do all that. And I'm like, yes, I do. So I think it's just authenticity. I think to be the best mother, you have to be the best person. And to be the best lawyer, I just have to be the best advocate, the best I can be. And everything that I do in life, I approach that way. It's so important to me. And I'm not doing it for anybody else. It's my internal judgment, if you will. I have to do everything the best I can possibly do. And then I feel good.
I love it. I love it. That's great. Hey, real quick, shout out to Ron Garcia. Thank you for watching today. If you guys are watching and you have questions, I love it when you say hi, but let us know if there's something you want to hear about. And we got Dana Abbott out in Arizona. How are you, sir? Thank you for watching. Lisa, thank you so much for sharing all that. I think it's amazing. Being the example goes a long way. Our kids will do what we do before they do what we say. They'll do what they see. And so I think that's so important. Now, talking about, leadership and perspective, what advice would you give to young attorneys, especially women, who aspire to build a long, successful career in law or leadership?
So this is going to sound really strange, but I never thought of myself as a woman in a man's field. I probably should have, but I'm so ambitious and so competitive that I just wanted to be the best, not the best woman. I wanted to be the best lawyer. And my field, collection litigation, is very male dominated. I mean, when I was young, I used to go to conferences. There would be hundreds of men in the room and me, maybe one other woman, maybe two, but that's it. So I tend to look at things as opportunities. So in my mind, hey, I'm the only woman in the room. Woohoo! Like, this is great. I can get anybody's attention. And I did. And I could talk to anybody. Everybody would come and want to talk to me. Being a woman in a male dominated field is fantastic because you stand out. The thing about life is that we all have gifts. Some people are tall and that helps them. Some people are beautiful and that helps them. Some people are incredibly smart. So you have to figure out what gift you have and utilize it. And for me, being a woman in a man's world was a gift. And so I used it. And the other thing also, from a purely work perspective, is that when you are in such a adversarial, contentious situation, being a woman, people will answer the phone because they feel less threatened. So I could talk to people, and a man with a deep voice might be intimidating to them. And I was small and little, and so I didn't. Little did they know that I was their worst nightmare, but they didn't see it. In fact, it was funny. My mother used to always say to me when I was young, I'll never forget this. She would say, Lisa, thank God you're as little as you are, because if you were any bigger, somebody would have taken a swing a long time ago. So I just used, being a woman as an advantage. And it's interesting because my daughter, Lily, who you probably remember, she is studying to be a doctor. And she's in a very competitive, very difficult career. And she knows after watching me that she can have it all. She's not worried that she's going to become a doctor and not be able to have a family. She knows that you can make it all work if you're organized and smart about it. So she's, as ambitious as I was in medicine. So it's you lead by example.
Well, I love what you said about everybody has a gift, right? And I think that some people have a hard time realizing what their gift is. I mean, I realized early on that my gift was relating to people on the mat and being able to take them from wherever they start and helping them become the best version of themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, you know. And I found that I just had a real gift with connecting with people with where they are and helping them to reach their goals. How how do you help someone, or what advice do you have to someone, um, because people struggle with confidence, people struggle with finding themselves, especially in a world today where you're told what you should be, what you can be, what you can't be. Things are so dictated by social media and otherwise. How do you advise them? You planted seeds with your children, you helped water those seeds and help them to blossom. What would you say to a young attorney? How do you find that gift?
Well, if you can't recognize it in yourself, then perhaps you should look to the people around you that might see it. And I mean, like my kids, when they were young, they didn't see where they excelled until I pointed it out. Oh my goodness, look at how great you are in math. Wow. Let's capitalize on this. Let's take more math classes, or
Hmm.
so I think what you have to do is you have to actively seek, either through other people or through yourself, look and see what you love to do and what you're good at. And if you ask yourself those questions, what you enjoy doing. I mean, even if it's playing video games, okay, well then you're computer oriented. Okay, so what are you good at? It's a journey. You have to focus on it.
Hmm. But I love that, you as a parent, you know, planted those seeds or saw, you see something at a young age and you foster it. And there were definitely times in our children's lives where I noticed something, right? And so you start kind of helping them down that path,
Right.
but then they realize that's not the path I want. Okay, cool. Well, let's talk about, what do you like? What do you enjoy? I know, I always saw that my son could be an amazing coach. He just has a knack for being a coach. Maybe from watching dad do it, or maybe he has his own style and flair about it. But I constantly, he told me when he was younger, I don't want to be an instructor. I don't want to teach karate. And then we coached baseball together, of all things, because that's what he really loved growing up, played baseball, and we coached together. And it was after he coached baseball that he says, "Yeah, maybe I will coach or teach karate." And it's one of the things that he's really, really good at. But that's probably not his career choice either. He has other interests and other things. And so I guess I'm just pointing out that it could be from the parents, it could be from within, could be from the people that you surround yourself with.
Well, there's one thing that you're not thinking about also, and it's also opportunities. So your path in life isn't always a straight road. You can go down a path and then all of a sudden, like, let's take Hunter. Remember my son Hunter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all he ever wanted to be was a cop. That was, he worked for Ventura County Sheriff. That's all he wanted to be. And then he had an opportunity when he was in college. He did an internship at an advertising agency. It just, this opportunity came up. He had no interest in advertising and found that he loved it. So that is, his journey took a turn, and he wanted to do that more than he wanted to be a sheriff. And it was just something that presented itself. So that can happen in life at any time. So, just because, your son says, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, and then all of a sudden something happens and something else comes along. That's not a wrong turn. Right. It's just part of his journey. It's not a straight line.
Yeah, you see that image, right? Success is never a straight line. It's just squiggly up and down and all around. And yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And I love that you talked about opportunities, and thanks for bringing that up, because I was speaking at the high school at Moorpark College yesterday, and it was something that we discussed. We talked about opportunities and how you just never know who you meet or the situation you're in, or you start on one path and then that opens a door. Because for myself, I never anticipated being involved in the restaurant industry ever, but because of martial arts and my relationship and my background with a friend, we now become partners in a restaurant. Never even thought of that, right?
Crazy, right?
But the opportunity came, and there it was. So yeah, absolutely. Hey, one more quick break. We're going to introduce Connected Leaders Academy, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
All right, we're back again. My name is Jason Flame, host of the Master Motivation Podcast, and I'm with Lisa Spiwak-Felipe. That was Jose Escobar of the Connected Leaders Academy. Super grateful for him to have me a part of his group, but also congratulations to him on now officially being in all 52 states in the United States. He has representatives in the Connected Leaders Academy. So pretty cool program. We've been talking a lot about a bunch of different stuff, Lisa, and I've really enjoyed our conversation so far. And I want to talk about life beyond law, right? You've traveled all over the world, right? What's one place that has completely changed your perspective or taught you something unexpected?
Right. So I have traveled all over the world. And I think the most impactful trip I ever took was to Thailand. And what was so impactful about it was that Thailand is filled with people that have nothing. They have so little. And traveling throughout that country, I don't think I saw one person that didn't have a smile on their face and didn't greet me with a warm welcome and didn't ask, how can I help? I had an experience. I was at a train station trying to buy a train ticket, and it was not in English and I couldn't figure it out. And somebody, just some random stranger, I guess, was watching me and came over and said, can I help you? And they helped me buy the ticket, helped me get on the train, explained to me where to go. Who does that? So that experience in Thailand it's something that I know, but it really solidified for me that it isn't what you have in life, it's how you feel about what you have in life. And these are just the happiest, most grateful people, and they have nothing. And so many people that I meet in my life have everything, and they're just miserable. So it's just, life is perspective, and that trip really, really solidified that for me.
Yeah, that's a pretty profound statement. It's not what you have, it's how you feel about what you have. Is that did I say it right?
Yeah, it's so true. It's like there's so many sayings. One man's treasure is another man's trash,
Hmm.
but it's how you feel about your life, not what your life is. It's how you feel about it.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow. Well, that was pretty powerful. Michael, thank you for watching. He was watching, I think, just a little bit back about the opportunities that we spoke with. But Michael, thank you for tuning in today, and thank you for everything you do here in our community with Moore Park Floral Designs. Yeah, it's different. You'd be amazed at people that have nothing are just absolutely ecstatic about the most simple things, and we live in a society and in a world where it's never enough. It's always, what's the next big thing? What can I buy next? What can I have? And when you talk about perspective, again, last year taught me and our family a lot about perspective. I would get excited about things, right? And I would get excited about things we have. But honestly, like now, the most important thing that I am happy to have is good health. My wife's good health, my kids happy and healthy. You really look at things like that and just go, man, another day, another year,
Yeah.
another memory. Those things are so much more important than the things that we can collect, because at the end of the day, we're all going to go at some point, and nothing that we have goes with us.
Right.
None of it. None of it goes with us, right?
It's
And
funny. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Years ago, my family decided, rather than to give each other material things, we give each other experiences.
Hmm.
And that has been a part of travel, and that is of value to my family.
Hmm.
Not stuff, we all have enough stuff.
My kids keep asking me, "Well, Dad, what do you want for Christmas?" And I'm like, honestly, I don't want anything, but I would love to spend time with you guys and just, because like our kids, 23 and 20, they're kind of like starting to figure out their own things in life and do their own thing and have their own path. And, sometimes it's far and few between that we get to spend as much time as we did together. And I look at, my parents live in Utah now. I see them a couple times a year. I'd love to spend more time with them. Life's a little busy and a little bit crazy, but like nothing beats just that extra time together, those experiences, like you said. So I told them, if you want to get me anything, let's go do something. Let's spend time doing something together. We
Road
used to love
trip.
going to Disneyland. Yeah, road trip to Utah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to this last question. And after an accomplished career and a full life, what's next for you? Is there a new chapter or is there a new adventure on the horizon?
Well, hopefully there's a few new chapters. Like hopefully I don't have just one chapter left in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted to write a book. I'm going to write a book. Maybe a couple. I've been a prolific reader my whole life, and I love to write. In fact, as a lawyer, my pen is my sword. So I think I've got a few books in me. So I definitely will do that when I have more time.
That's
But
awesome. Well,
yeah,
that might be a nice little segue. I know a lot of people saw this that I've been posting. I had the chance to become an award-winning author in this book called Born to Risk. It was an amazing opportunity to get to write. It's one of the things that I spent a lot of my time last year doing. And so I'd love to hear when you start writing your book, and if you need any help or ideas or whatever. But like for me, it was just like it all started with journaling and just journaling daily on my, stories and thoughts. And it's been a really great experience. So yeah, writing a book would be a
that's
great idea for you.
fantastic. Yeah. I do the same thing. I just ideas pop into my head, and I run over to my computer and just start making little short stories. And I don't do anything with them, but they will become my book.
Yeah, and we all have our wonderful computer in our hand, and so the notes feature on my phone is just filled with all kinds of stuff that I just want to remember. I actually started probably, I think it's about 15 years ago that I started this, 2010. I would make a list of the highlights of my day. Just like what was a highlight of my day? What did I do today? It could have been lunch with a friend. It could have been attending a certain seminar. And I just continue. And like over the years, the list gets a little bit more detailed every time. And I found that that's been a really fun way to just kind of keep track of. And of course, I can go back to Facebook memories and see all kinds of stuff because I tend to post there a lot, right? But that's been a lot of fun to do. So
That's fantastic. I mean, the business person in me, my mind is exploding like, what a great thing to manufacture, like to have people journal the highlights of their day, and make like a pad of paper. That's interesting because it solidifies. Sometimes we forget like the little high points of things. So that's wonderful, Jason. Good for you.
I love it. Yeah, I'm a list maker. I love to make lists of. I've got a list of every movie I've watched. I've got a list of every book I've read. I've got a list of all my guests on the podcast. But yeah, that list is kind of my favorite, and I like to post it, every year in January to show like, hey, this is my year in review, and it's pretty cool. I get to tag all the people that were involved and just share that with them. And some people reach out and they're like, I didn't even know that like when we had lunch that was like a highlight of your day. And it's like it's a great way to remind people that, hey, you make a difference.
Yeah. It's funny, because I don't do lists like you do, but with all these trips that I take, I do photo albums,
Hmm.
and my family is always like, "Oh my God, that's so much work. Why do you bother doing all that?" And it's like, I don't know, but I think that someday when I can't travel anymore, I'll be wanting to look through these books. I have hundreds of them, or maybe my kids will look through them. But yeah, it's kind of personal recordation of our lives. Maybe it helps, make us feel like we were here.
That's right. I mean, they're great memories, right? I mean, you can make a great video with all of those pictures, and just something like I know that we watch every year. We had at our wedding, we had the photographer make a video of all the pictures they took. We watch it every year, and I post it on Facebook, and my kids love watching it. But it becomes like part of our like traditions of like celebrating the anniversary, or looking back at a trip to Disneyland, or a trip
Right.
to wherever we went. But yeah, I mean, listen, that's life is meant to be lived, and those memories just help you live it all over again. I mean,
Right.
how much do you look back at when the kids were in preschool and kindergarten, and just like tons of things come flooding back, and that's
All those
I
feelings.
love it,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
do too, actually. Yeah.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show and just kind of share some time with me today and share your story. Lot of inspiration and motivation in there, and education. For people to maybe watch this back and take some notes, and maybe do a little bit of self-reflection. As we talked about, finding your gift. I think that when you truly find your gift, that's an amazing thing. And then once you
Amazing.
have that gift, sharing it with everyone.
Oh, and as a parent, just really having your eye open to your child's gifts, and watering that seed.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thanks again. Say hi to Mark for us. Say hi to all the kids. Uh, continue following each other on social media, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But wishing you all the best, and enjoy the holidays coming up with your family.
Oh, you too, Jason. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you to everybody who's been watching us live here today. Once again, don't forget to share the video and go to YouTube and subscribe to Master Motivation Podcast. And look forward to some upcoming guests. I'll be back next Thursday at 10 a.m. Lisa, again, thank you so much.
Okay, take care.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.